never gonna make it. You're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible. It's not probable. You're irresponsible. Too many obstacles. You gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow. You can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move. I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions. They blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen. That shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven.
There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Oh, will you fight?
Hello and welcome to Game Day from the UK, another Miami Heat UK live pre-game streaming show. Here tonight to preview the game against the Washington Wizards. We're in good form, we're in good spirits, and it's great to have, first of all, John Jablonka back. John, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks. Good to be
stuff,
back.
Good stuff. Been keeping well? Seems like forever.
Yeah, no, it's been long.
Been working hard, man. It's great to have you back. Olly Rahimi, sir, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, mate. Thank you.
Good stuff. Well, guys, Olly, I'll start with you. It's been 2 games since we've been fully healthy. 2 huge blowout wins. Lowry, Robinson, Butler, PJ, and Bam. When they're on court together, good things happen. Is this going to be really? This is the playoff 5, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's looking good. Obviously, there's a lot of talk at the moment around trades and stuff. So, I mean, personally, I wouldn't move anyone. I wouldn't move Duncan. I wouldn't move anybody. But maybe that's the only position that you could argue might not be there in the playoffs. But I think they all work together really well. They complement each other perfectly. And we've seen in this 2-game sample size that they've done really well. And 2 blowout victories, 2 dominant performances, start to finish. So it's looking good. We're sitting first again, and hopefully Oladipo is going to be back. They were thinking the 10th, which is Thursday against the Pelicans, but
yeah, I saw you tweet this earlier, and have you seen something I haven't? I have been busy today. I haven't been online too much, but yeah, I saw that the 10th. Where's this come from? Where's your sources, my man?
Thing is, I'm not 100% sure. I remember reading a few tweets about it from a couple of the guys over in the States saying that they had sort of earmarked the 10th for his return. I mean, personally, it would make sense for it to be after the All-Star break, but yeah, if it's the 10th, then great, because that's only 3 days away. But
well, yeah, I mean, look, I think that we all sort of was gearing ourselves up for after All-Star break. But look, if he's ready, he's ready. He's been looking sharp. Everything we've seen about Vic is looked sharp. So why wait? Let's get some of that rust away straight away. Let's see what happens there. John, as Olly just said there, as I said, 2 blowout wins. We're looking good. But what's maybe been the biggest takeaway with that, from my point of view, is because of the big wins and the comfortable nature of them, it's allowed us to rest a lot of players. Jimmy Butler, for example, 25 minutes in the first game, 29 minutes last time out. That's really important at this stage of the season, again, isn't it? For them guys to just take a lot of their workload off.
Yeah, especially for the role players as well, like PJ and all the other aging guys. Because we played a lot of games without Bam and Jimmy, so they all had to step up more. And they're playing most of the games that are close, so they played big minutes. The more rest you can get for the older guys, the better. Then they'll be much more ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And that's been really pleasing, especially at this time of the season where the games have become so thick and fast, and we've been short at times as well. That's really pleasing to see, and the production not going away either. Olly, quickly to touch on the Charlotte game. When we previewed it last time, I said, look, I think the Heat was something like -6 on the spread. And I said, if you're a gambling man, I would be all over that with the team looking healthy. We absolutely dominated them, as we did against the Spurs the game before that as well. A third quarter of 35 and 8. I've not seen many things like that. We casually went on a 50 and 16 run, a 50 and 16 run during that game.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. That's mental. Like for Heat fans that have been around for a few years, the third quarter has historically been just awful. Like it's been the third quarter, like they've just dropped leads. So to see that was awesome. And like you said, that was a huge run. Like that was 12 minutes of basketball just in the quarter, but obviously that run stretched over a longer period. That 12 minutes of basketball completely flipped the game. Like it just just completely dominated them, completely steamrolled them, and like you said earlier, it allowed us to rest our main guys down the stretch, which going into the playoffs is what we're going to want to do.
Yeah, I think there's those graphs that come out. John, you might know about this because you probably are the sort of person that tweets them because they're very interesting statistically. There's that sort of graph that goes out that shows that we're one of the most productive third quarter
Oh, yeah,
teams. In
yeah.
fact, it might even be the most productive third quarter team. So yeah, no third quarter from this team this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it is now, but yeah, I remember one of the updates was that the Heat were the best third quarter teams. The last time I saw that post, I think it was just all around. Each quarter had a positive net rating. I think it was the second quarter that was the best one. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, good. Anyway, it's production. Not always nice to see a third quarter production because you don't want to see momentum lost over the halftime break and coming out cold. And yeah, a 35-8 quarter is about as sharp as it gets. That was job done, which allowed the rest to come. Just stand with you for a minute, John. Jimmy Butler has said raised a few eyebrows last week when he said that he was not a scorer anymore. Well, 27 points. I think he was 14 after the first quarter last time out. Do you think this is something that is really going to be true? Do you think he's predominantly not going to be looking to score, or is he going to take it sort of situational game by game basis? Because, as I said, he top scored again, 27 points. If that's you're not a scorer, well, we'll take it, won't we?
I think he just said that just for the media. You always hear LeBron say that he's a pass first guy and then drops 40. I think that's just more of a media perception. But with Jimmy, he still does go game by game. There are games where he will just go get his. And there are games where he will attempt 2 shots in the first half, looking for others to get involved. But I think that would just depend on the matchups and what's needed from him.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how he goes on because he always does come across as a situational sort of player anyway. Sometimes he just is not concerned about getting the box score up. It's all about the team win. And as I said, at the moment, 2-2, Ollie, for this road trip. I predicted a 5-1. That went by the wayside pretty quickly. But injuries sort of took into account with that. But with just 2 more road games left, Washington and Pels. By the way, I misspoke last time. I said that the Spurs was our last game out west on the road. That's obviously not true. We've still got to play New Orleans. But with this road trip finishing after the Pelicans game, the Heat just play. This is courtesy of Ira Winderman, who tweeted this out earlier. The Heat just play 9 more road games of their last 26, and coming into to the business end of the season now. That could be massive for momentum going into the playoffs with all those home games left. And at one point, we play a stretch of 10 home games out of 11. I don't think that's not being spoken about enough. That could be really productive for this team.
Yeah, it will be. And I think, at the moment, we are one of the best home teams in the league. Yeah. So it's fallen brilliantly into our hands. And obviously, we had that stretch of games over the first half of the season where we were almost constantly on the road and playing away from home. And I think I spoke about it at the time. It was really important to ride that wave because getting to the halfway point and now getting to the latter part of the season in the position that we're in, thanks to Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker and Tyler Hero when other guys have been out, has allowed us to be that force at home that we haven't really seen that much because, as you said, we've not been at home an awful lot. So for the last couple of weeks and months of the season, that's going to be really interesting to see, and hopefully we can solidify our place as the number 1 seed and take in home court advantage into the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think the only way this team now, I know it's so ridiculously tight and, you can go on a 3-4 game skid and suddenly you're out of home court seeding. It's that close. But if this team is healthy, can stay healthy, you see nothing more now than that gap opening up. Let's see what happens with that. Before we come on to the Wizards game, very quickly, just quick bit about trade stuff, because, of course, around this time with trade deadline coming up, rumours have swelled around. Before we come on to the one that we sort of know about that was reported by Greg Sylvander last night with maybe a backup 4 position, John, what's going on with the Morris brothers at the moment? Because it's all a bit cryptic. They're all like tweeting eyeball emojis and, tweeting each other's names and things like that. Marcus Morris, of course, in the Clippers at the moment, liking a tweet with someone saying that, are you going to be joining your twin in Miami? What are your thoughts here? Could this happen? And if so, what's going to go the other way? Because he's a handy player.
I think I'm out on the Morris trade. I like him as a player, and I like in a vacuum, I would have Morris off the bench. But I don't think it's worth giving up Duncan and have Strus or Caleb back into the starting lineup, and messes that up with the chemistry of Bam, Jimmy, and all that. Because Caleb's not the shooter, Duncan is. Max Strus even not the shooter that Duncan is. So I don't think that evens up. Like, you could get a more productive offensive bench with Morris and Hero, but I'm not sure if that cancels out the downside of not having Duncan in that starting lineup. And I don't see Morris closing out either, because I don't see 4 different bigs in the starting lineup closing, so I don't think that would be worth it.
Yeah, it surprised me when I saw the rumours, and I don't know what's going on there. It all seems a little bit odd, but it's not the sort of trade that I'd be throwing anybody important into. I certainly wouldn't be giving up Duncan. I like Marcus Morris. He's the better Morris brother. I think he's a handy player, but I don't really think he's the sort of player that this team really needs right now. So we'll see what happens. It's all a bit cryptic. We'll see. Ollie, before we come on to anything else, the only other one as well as Greg Sylvander pointed out last night, backup 4 position is maybe, as you've already alluded to, maybe where we're lacking a little bit with Morris still being out. Not sure really when he's going to come back, if at all. KZ can't stay fit. So the rumours coming out that it could be Rui, try and pronounce his name right, Hachimura, PJ Washington, or Nick Batum. They're the names that have been rung out as possible interest involved in there. Any of those names that immediately spring to mind as if you could get on the cheap that would fit this team nicely?
Yeah, I think the key thing you just said there is on the cheap. Firstly, just about Morris, I agree with John. I think it's definitely not worth giving up Duncan and anything else to get him, because it takes away something that is our USP almost. In terms of those 3, I actually ran a poll on Twitter to see sort of who would like which of those 3, and it was very resoundingly in favour of Rui Hachimura, and
I was surprised at that.
Yeah, I was as well. Now I'm going to rule out Nick Batum. I think he's a very skilled player, but I think he doesn't have that mobility and necessarily as good on defense as the other 2. Plus the age thing. They're PJ Washington and Hachimura are both 23, so they've got a lot of upside to them. Getting one on cheap, I like both of them, to be honest, because as John said about Marcus Morris, PJ Tucker is going to be the one to close games at the 4 position, maybe at the 5 if Bam's in foul trouble. So you don't really need a closer in that sense. So personally, I think I would go for PJ Washington. I think I'm just slightly leaning towards him at the moment, but if we could somehow get either of the 2, it would really solidify our sort of bench unit. And if that meant flipping Markieff Morris and maybe KZ, I'd be all for it.
Yeah, I think they're the 2 sort of most expendable players on this roster. But yeah, I agree. I don't think we need another veteran. We certainly don't need that on this team. So Nick Batum doesn't really appeal. But yeah, either one of those 2. But I'm with you. I think if I was going to handpick one of those, I think PJ Washington's skill set plus his relationship with Tyler Hero from his Kentucky days, I think that works well. So interesting. Only a few days to go. We will see what happens. Ollie, I think before we come on to the Washington game again, I think you've got some late night takeaways for us, have you?
I do.
Let's do it. Go for it, my man.
So the first one is attack from the off. We saw it against Charlotte, specifically in the 3rd quarter, but we need to get out the gates early against Washington. The average plus or minus for Washington's 5 starters was -19 in their loss to Phoenix. So yet none of those players played any more than 24 minutes. So we've got the band back together, as we've talked about. We've got our strong starting 5 back now. We need to see aggression early, stake out a big lead. And then, like we mentioned, it means resting guys down the stretch as well, which long-term is a lot better for load management and stuff like that. Suffocating them early, we saw the excellent defense that we played in that game against the Hornets. And then you've got the final sort of nail in the coffin with Tyler coming off the bench to show our dominance and just put this one to bed early. That is definitely my first point. And then secondly, it's Bam again. Like his little stretch that he's had in the last couple of games, the last week or so, he's averaged 23 points and 11 rebounds with 3 steals over the last 3 games. And we've really seen an uptake in his sort of aggression, which I think a lot of Heat Twitter has been wanting for a long time now. He shot 7 for 21 against Charlotte. And personally, I prefer him to have nights like that where his percentage is lower, but he's taking more shots than say if he was shooting 8 for 10, for example, and he's hitting 80% of his shots, but he's not taking that many. So that aggression opens up so many facets of the Heat's offense, especially with Kyle Lowry orchestrating things now that he's back. So if Bam can assert his dominance on Thomas Bryant, assuming that he's going to be the starting center tonight, coupled with the defense mentioned a minute ago, then I think the Heat should be good.
Yeah, great point about Bam. And John, I think that's sort of a highlighting point, isn't it? Because he has definitely looked more aggressive since Twitter sort of had a go at him, as they do. Yeah, I'm with Ollie there. You'd rather see Bam with a 7 from 21 than not put these shots up? Because I'd rather see him go for it but not get them than be passive. So a big reason for the Heat's big wins recently, I think, has been that upturn in Bam's sort of more aggressive approach. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I just want him to just take the shots that the defense gives him. It's not really all about like forcing shots and doing what he isn't meant to do. He's just, there are times where the defense actually just sags off him and he's only looking for the handoff. But if he actually just took that mid-range shot and miss, I'd still prefer that than just him not looking at the rim. So yeah, his aggression on offense definitely helped. I also tweeted that his aggression on defense has been more productive since coming back from injury. He's got like a 3% steal rate, which would be ranked first in the league, and a 4% block rate, which would be top 20 in the league. So both aggression on offense and defense since he came back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his defensive side. I mean, that bit of footage that went around about him literally guarding the whole team, ending with a block. That just showed. I mean, there's not many guys in the league that can do that, and we've got him. So yeah, it's just about almost it's a mental thing with Bam. If you just got to remember how good he is at both ends, and he will continue to rise. Great point, Ollie, to bring that up. Well done, John. Just stand with you for a minute. The Wizards obviously no Bill tonight. He's out, so Heat will go in as quite overwhelming favourites. But one guy that I think has caught my eye this year, and he's got a bad rep really through the league, not really much to do with his fault, just really from his time maybe in LA and the spotlight on him. But Kyle Kuzma's been good this year, averaging just short of 16, it's just over 16 points a game, 9 rebounds a game, couple of assists a game. He's got it in his bag, isn't he? He's a threat.
Yeah, I like his game, especially this year and last year's improvements. I think he recently had a 30-point game on a win or something. So I think he can actually ball, and with built out, I think he will be more of a scoring threat alongside Dinwiddie. So yeah, that is definitely a guy we need to be watch out for, so he doesn't go off for 30 again.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, keeping him quiet will be a big thing tonight. What do you make of the Wizards here, Ollie? Because again, it's a similar sort of story with them. On paper, they've got assets, they've got a decent squad, but they sit here now 26 and 28, 11th in the East. Just they're in that round, that sort of scrabbling to get in that play-in situation. They're a similar sort of team, aren't they? They've got things that can hurt you, but you know they're coming into this game now on 5 straight home defeats. Again, for the Heat to get this over the line, which I don't really see being much of an issue tonight, what's going to be the main keys?
I think the only thing that the Heat need to be mindful of is complacency, because as you said, it is a game that we should win. Washington started the season really well as well. They've been on a big slide recently, and obviously with Beal out at the moment and Dinwiddie, they have had to look at guys like Kuzma, who we just spoke about, but he's not of that level to put up 30 every night or even 20 like over a stretch of 10-15 games. So yeah, I think it's just about guarding against complacency tonight, making sure Kyle Lowry is orchestrating things well and just making sure that everything's managed well, which I'm sure he will do. He always does. And if we can see some more aggression from Bam and Jimmy, then I think we should be good.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tyler Hero is probably out tonight by what we hear. It's a game time decision, but I think he's probably going to be rested tonight. But the rest of the team is strong and healthy. The Heat are a -6 on the spread, very similar to what we said about the Spurs or the Charlotte game, whichever one it was. Again, that seems pretty comfortable. I think that would be clear. So if you're betting man, I would be covering that 100% with the East. John, just finally before we get some predictions. Again, they remind me, the Wizards, of a little bit like Portland out west. The two superstars always shown this disgruntled sort of, are we going to get anywhere? Is this team ever going to get over the hump? Then they never do, yet they still show their loyalty. Portland seems to have already maybe made this a decision now that they're going to reset. We could be maybe a few more defeats away by All-Star break of maybe Washington going down the same road. Could you see both Portland and Washington without their two superstars next year? Do you think they finally bite the bullet?
I'm not sure about Portland. I think they'll be more stubborn on Dame, because Dame's a higher tier player than Bill, and you can still try to make it work around Dame to be at least a playoff team. But with Bill, he's not worth the Supermax. He's not a top 10 caliber player, so I think they should just explore trade with him. Maybe trade to Miami, but that would be good, yeah.
Yeah, I think that you just want to see the good players, and he's sort of everybody's second, like that. Bill's everyone's like favourite player that doesn't play for your team. You know, it doesn't matter who you're talking about. Everyone loves Bradley Bill. You want to see the best players playing on good teams, and I just see his years being wasted there. So get out of bloody Washington, Bradley. Right, let's get some predictions. As I said, they are -6 on the spread tonight. Ollie, seems pretty comfortable on paper to me. What are you thinking tonight?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I think Heat by sort of maybe 12, 15, that area. I'm hoping for a big night from Bam, so I'm going to say 30 from Bam tonight.
Good man. Love that. Yes. John, what are you thinking?
I'm saying a 10-point lead. There's going to be a blowout, but it'll be a closer game because of the bench and all that. And I'm hoping for a Duncan game. They're not good defensively. I don't think there will be anyone that can guard him. He's been struggling lately, so at least 20 points from Duncan.
I would love to think so. Duncan actually let me down on my bet the other night. I've done a bet builder. Everything come in. I had Heat -8, I think, on the spread, or 9 on the spread. I had a Bam double-double. I had a Jimmy steal. I had a Bam block. I had Hero over 17 points, but I had Robinson over 2 threes, and he only got 1 free. So he let me down for a lot of money. You owe me £150, Mr. Robinson. I'll be in your DMs about it. Anyway, yes, I agree. Big bounce back night tonight, hopefully for him. Let's see if he can get on the mark. No Hero, which will hurt the offense, but we've still got way more than enough to deal with this. I'll say similar thing, double figures around that dozen mark. I think that's achievable without a doubt. So let's see. Let's carry on this road trip success, and let's get back home rested and carrying on with these W's. So going for a sweep across the board there with Heat wins. There's a few games break now. I don't think we play again until Thursday, which is nice to wrap up the trip against the Pels. But we will be here, of course, tonight. A midnight tip, so relatively early for us tonight. Follow us at the Miami Heat UK. Subscribe to the channel Miami Heat UK TV. You know all these things. Please go and follow my guys as well. Please, actually, big point here. You've seen their at John Jablonka, Olly Rahimi NBA. Follow them because they both put in a lot of work. John has just started writing for Hot Hoops. Very proud of you, John. Great debut article there. Follow them, both of them. They are very good at what they do. And subscribe to our account, please. See you next time, guys. Enjoy the game.